Hello everyone, this is Goosebumps Godzilla, and today I'm having another Goosebumps theory. And that is on who is Dr. Maniac. So, Dr. Maniac is one of my favorite Goosebumps villains. I don't know why, there was always something special about him. And by the way, the latest Goosebumps book from Slappy World, They Call Me Night Howler, will, I think, feature Dr. Maniac in there, which is very exciting because I love Dr. Maniac. But I've been thinking on who is Dr. Maniac. It's a very tough subject since this guy seems very, very insane, and thus we can't really get a look into his personal past. But I've come up with a pretty likely person who Dr. Maniac actually is. So, first off, I have to warn you, there are going to be spoilers for Goosebumps books, which is Dr. Maniac vs. Robbie Squirts, Dr. Maniac Will See You Now, and The Masked Mutant. So, viewer beware, you're in for a scare. So let's get started. So, in Dr. Maniac vs. Robbie Squirts, it is revealed that Dr. Maniac knows the weakness of his worst nemesis, what's his name? The Purple Rage. And that's that you have to make him so angry that he will explode, literally. And so, he obviously has knowledge of comic book villains. Or is Purple Rage a hero? He mostly acts as a villain. And sometimes he helps the main protagonist, but more often than not, he's a pretty bad guy. So Dr. Maniac knows the weakness of the Purple Rage, and so that means he has to have a vast knowledge of comic book characters. Kind of reminds me of someone else I know, like the main protagonist in the Attack of the Mutant. So in the Attack of the Mutant, the main protagonist is a super comic book fan, and his favorite comic book character is the Masked Mutant. But he also liked a bunch of other comics. He mostly collected, but he only read the Masked Mutant comics. But anyway, so that means he has to have a vast knowledge of comic book characters. Kind of like everyone's favorite maniac, Dr. Maniac. And so that first thing makes a lot of sense. Next reason I believe this is that in the end of The Masked Mutant, we are shown that the main protagonist is named Skipper Mathews, became a comic book character. So what happens if so he'd have to go to the comic book world, which is revealed to exist in Dr. Maniac Will See You Now. And also Dr. Maniac has never really shown any superpowers except for knowing about his fellow supervillains, a trait that Skipper Mathews has because he knows about almost all superheroes. And also, he what was I talking about again? So yeah, and Dr. Maniac fits that bill perfectly. He knows about the comic book villain's weaknesses, and he knows about basically everything about the comic book world, and same as Skipper Mathews. And he would have to go to the comic book world in order for him to become a comic book character, which he became in the end of The Masked Mutant. So obviously, he would probably have to be Dr. Maniac, because Dr. Maniac does not exhibit any real superpowers and just craziness. And so that really seems like it would be Skipper Mathews from The Masked Mutant. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and that is the end.